Infrastructure updates should be kept at the forefront of the Nebraska Legislature's concerns, said Senator Mike Flood during a visit with Holdrege residents Thursday. Introduced by State Senator Tom Carlson of Holdrege, Flood talked and then took questions from the audience at Central Nebraska Public Power in Holdrege. Flood addressed water issues in the Republican River Basin and called for a balanced water policy that respects the needs of users while maintaining the local economy and meeting Nebraska's obligations to Kansas.
When we started in 2007, there are some senators that would say, why are we getting sued by the state of Kansas? And the answer is, well, they're upset that they didn't get enough water in 05 and 06. They've sued us before, they're suing us again. And there's sometimes a feeling among some members of the legislature that aren't in your area. What steps are being taken to ensure that the Republican River delivers enough water to the state of Kansas? And I think if you look at 2007, we instituted a number of, we gave folks a number of tools in the toolbox to NRDs to try and be in compliance. And together with the rain, 07, 08, 09, my understanding is we did meet our obligation to the state of Kansas, which is very good. Right now, the state's is going through a trial in front of a special master in Maine right now to determine who's right. Does Nebraska owe Kansas money? How does Kansas deserve anything at all? I think the arbiter said that it was a $10,000 assessment from Nebraska to Iowa before, in the arbitration before this went to trial. Hopefully the arbitration was a prelude to what happened in the trial in front of the special master. But that's an issue that's going to come back at us next year and in the years to come after that decision comes down. And I think that this area of the state has to make the case that we need to find balance with our water policy. You've got to respect the economy and the rights of irrigators, the ability of irrigators to use a natural resource, while at the same time meet our obligations to the state of Kansas and any other compact therein, and maintain the economy of the local area.
Our water is the lifeblood of agriculture, and we have got to learn to raise more with less. And if we put our minds to it hard enough, we can do it. So when somebody wants to just take all they want whenever they want, it doesn't mesh with good long-term planning. And we've got to really be careful about those kinds of attitudes.
Well, and the other thing is, as a senator from northeast Nebraska, I was really unfamiliar with the way that this part of the state gets its water. Nobody where I live has an irrigation canal. I mean, it's just not something we live with. You're obviously very familiar with the system. And I've been in the legislature 8 years, and I feel like I have a pretty good understanding of the interplay between Lake McConaughey and irrigators in Phelps County and other places in Nebraska. But I want you to know that in an era of term limits, there's a real need to educate legislators coming after me. Jim Scheer is most likely going to be my replacement in the legislature, from where I sit. He's a guy that's lived in Norfolk his whole life. We're an agricultural area, but there's going to be a need for people in south central Nebraska and western Nebraska to reach out to to someone like Jim Scheer and say, you know, this is the way it works in central Nebraska. Please come down here, check out the area, especially senators from Omaha and Lincoln. I mean, this is a priority issue for the legislature. It's going to be back on the horizon regardless of what happens with the Kansas lawsuit. I do feel like it's getting more high profile again. Would that be accurate, Tom? Mm-hmm. So, especially in the highlight of the drought. The other issue that we're starting to deal with as state senators right now is some folks that are domestic users of water, a household. You know, they obviously have priority under the law as it relates to the use of groundwater. We're getting calls into our offices down in Lincoln because the drought has affected irrigators so bad that some domestic wells are running dry. And so I think you're going to see some concern raised across the state about making sure that folks have water to shower and bathe and drink. Hopefully this is a one-time occurrence like it was in 1956, that we're not going to see this next year. But I'll tell you, if my office is indicative, I would imagine there's lots of senators' offices. They're getting called about the use of domestic water and its relationship to irrigation. I think we're very fortunate to have irrigation. I think we benefit from it. Our state's economy is tied to it. It's one of our resources. I think our water is Wyoming's coal. This is something that we need to be very protective of, but we also need to be able to use it.